Lemmy. Okay, let's begin with Chris on our virtual
Chris is already joining
I
us.
understand he has joined us, yes. Federal government set panel to probe Betta Edu. That's how the Nigerian pilot posts the story. And then you have different other writers to the story on different other papers. Some people are calling for the probe. Others are saying the minister should just resign and allow investigation to continue. Others are saying he should just be sacked, you know. So I don't know where you stand on this, because even the minister is saying these are, you know, people who are mischief makers who are saying this, that she hasn't done anything wrong because she had directive to do what she did. So.
Well, good morning, happy New Year. Let me, Kule and Koli. It's good to see you in 2024. Happy New Year to you and all our viewers.
Thank you, Chris.
Yes.
Happy New Year to you.
Yes. Yes, and before I go into that, let me quickly state this. I just came back from the East yesterday after the Christmas and New Year, and that's something that I saw that is worry. It's sign of worry for me, and I need our government and the state government and the security agencies to look into this, and it has to do with what I saw between. I came by road between the Djibouti toll gate and also Shagamu. Nkoli, it was gruesome. Within that space, within that short space, I saw at least five dead bodies on that road. And some were headless. 5 dead corpses on the road, yes. And some of them were headless, they've been beheaded. And yes, that is between Shagamu, Ijebo, the old toll gate, and Shagamu. And I was wondering what is happening. It was gory. And to see that some of the corpses I was bloated. And I asked myself, what is going on? What is the state government in Ogun State doing? I know that the security agencies in Ogun State have been trying their best. I remember that CP Alamotu, one of the best commissioners of police in Nigeria, the CP of Ogun State, some few weeks ago raised the alarm on the rate of ritual killing going on in Ogun State. But what I saw on the road yesterday was lovely, and we need to. I was just imagine if you can see close to about 3, 4, 5 cops on the road within that short space. I want to wonder what is happening in the bush. So this is an alert to the Inspector General of Police, to the CP of Ogun State, and also the Ogun State government to be able to look into it and investigate. And I asked, if those dead bodies have been there, how come the state government and Ministry of Health in Ogun State have not been able to evacuate those corpses? Because that is an international route where a lot of people pass through, including visitors to Nigeria going through. And such as it was a gruesome blessing, and I just think that we should start on that woman. And for me this morning, I've not had a sleepless night saying that, and I'm sure that most Nigerians have passed that route in the past few days now, and I hope something will be done immediately. Now going to the issue of the day on the Betta Edu. Well, I don't even know where to start, but it's quite unfortunate that this is happening. Why is it quite unfortunate is because this is a lady that some of us have believed that, I think she's the youngest member of the cabinet, and we believe that this is an example of what we call what do we call it now? The young to
not too young to run.
Not too young, yeah. Thank you very much. Not too young, and we believe that there is a need to bring young people into the cabinet and into governance, so that the older generations can also start winding down and handing over mantle of leadership to the youth who have been craving for it for years. And Betta Edu, I thought, would have been a classical example, but what is coming now is not palatable at all. I've seen her initial defense, where she said that yes, the money was used to the person, she's the coordinator, and that she disbursed the money and returned whatever was spent and the rest of them. But the question is why pay into an individual? And to even make the matter worse, the Accountant General of Nigeria came out to say that approval was not given. So why did she go that route? That is one stage of it. The second stage is that what our graph agencies, Nkoli Kule, you remember that there was a law by the CBN or whatever. If you are transiting an amount more than 10 million or something like that, that the EFCC must be. The banks used to say it, that they will put in that state that EFCC will be. So if the graph agency like EFCC was informed, or were they not informed? Did the bank in charge inform the EFCC about this transaction? And if they did, what did the EFCC do? So it is a very good enough. The president has ordered an investigation. But between you and I, as far as I'm concerned, nothing will come out of it, because I'm trying to be an optimist here, but I feel nothing will come out of it, because there have been there has been similar instances in the past where we say, oh, we will investigate, we will do this. At the end of it, or nothing comes out of it. But this is a very, very bad example. And I have said it time and time again. Now look at also what happened in the last administration with that same ministry. While we're keeping a tap on 585, also remember that about 30 billion is being investigated currently from that same. And I've said it time and time that ministry was a ministry that was probably set up to siphon money. All this issue of palliative distribution of money and doesn't cut eyes with me. It doesn't. All this so-called distribution of 5,000, 10,000, it's going to certain pockets. Most Nigerians are supposed to get it. They are not. Didn't get it. Where is the register? Which register are they using? This has been disputed severally. So I think, and I hope that the president and this government will be able to redeem this name by making sure that a proper investigation is put in place, and those found culpable are, to a large extent, punished for their bets. I don't think I'm very optimistic, but I need to be proved wrong.
Okay, Lemmy.
Okay.
Falana says, apologize and resign. PDP says the government should actually sack her. What are your thoughts on this story? It's been boiling all through the weekend.
Okay, I take cognizance of the fact that the constitutional presumption of innocence granted every citizen, including Betta Edu, presumes that she's innocent until proven guilty. Be that as it may, on the prima facie evidence and by admission on the part of Betta Edu, sometimes you wonder who their strategic communicators are and how they misadvise themselves. On our own note, it happened even with the Chief Justice, the then Chief Justice of Nigeria, Walter Samuel Samson Ononge, when senior lawyers were defending him, and there were daggers drawn against the Buhari administration that no, you cannot mess up the Chief Justice of Nigeria. And before you knew it, the Chief Justice's spokesperson issued a statement. In fact, the Chief Justice then on his own issued a statement pleading ignorance for a man at that highest level, pleading ignorance of what he did. And that was it. All the lawyers who were behind him had to withdraw from giving him defense, and that was how he had to resign. Betta Edu herself has toed that line by admitting that she transferred money into private individuals' account. So even on the prima facie evidence and admission by Betta Edu, she should immediately resign and be prosecuted. However, since the president and commander-in-chief, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has ordered a thorough investigation into the matter, the global best practices should kneel. That means Betta Edu must, step aside. She must step aside for thorough investigation that will not be impeded by her occupying that office. Should she fail to tender a letter of, a letter to step aside, not necessarily to resign, but at least step aside for the period of the investigation. Should she fail to do that, I insist that it is the prerogative and an obligation, moral and legal obligation, of the president and commander-in-chief to suspend her himself. The part of honor for Betta Edu is to step aside. If she fails to do that this morning, then the president will continually these days ends my plaudits, because at the beginning of the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, even those of us who are avowed critics, because of course I'm not a public relations officer of any government, the times have passed when you pay a public servant his salary in a state or in federal government and they begin to thank the president or the governor. That is what they swore to do. It's their duty. However, I said at the beginning that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it's demonstrating qualities that Buhari for 8 years never demonstrated, which is that he's sensitive to what the people are saying. And this is captured in the letter from the Minister of Information. In Buhari's time, you cannot get any official of government to appear before the National Assembly. Service chiefs today are appearing as at when invited. In Buhari's time, you had Sadia Umar Farouk, whom we are tracing 32 billion naira alleged fraud to. You dare not summon her. So we are seeing a Tinubu who is actually demonstrating that he is listening to what the people are saying. Tinubu's New Year message to Nigerians, he said, I know that Nigerians are going through difficult times. Buhari in 8 years of administration never said that. As a matter of fact, every time you listen to Buhari's broadcast, you will say, is it the same Nigeria he is governing that he's speaking about? But the current president listens and admits to the fact that Nigerians are going through grueling times. And is taking steps. And you see, for under 6 months, for us to be talking about almost 600 million naira, that's what we have been able to uncover. And the same Minister of Information, I think he should also be well guided and well advised, because now he's issuing a statement also that seems to be saying the media should not do this work. The office of the Minister of Information is not recognized by the Constitution. The position of the media is well documented.
I think he's talking about, maybe fake news on the social media space, because there are also some stories that are out there that may not be verified.
Don't brief for
I'm not holding
people.
brief for him. I'm only saying what that statement says, which I also read.
The statement, look, citizens' journalism all over the world is key. So people, eventually, the truth will be unraveled amongst all of the milieu of information that come out. The Betta Edu's version, was it not also on social media?
All right.
So we shouldn't gag anybody. Okay. We should do the right thing. If Betta Edu does not step aside, the president should, by this afternoon, suspend that summarily.
All right, let's bring Chris in, because, of course, we'll also be talking about interrogating this further in our interview segment. So let's see if we can pick one or two stories, yes, on the papers. Let's go to the Authority newspaper this morning, where we are talking about, the Supreme Court judgments which are being expected in some of the governorship elections. Nigerians, some people said suspense, others said anxiety, and all of that. And with this Plateau case, you see PDP Muftwang insists case in the Plateau issue is pre-election matter, apparently telling the Supreme Court to do justice to what they perceive as a wrong judgment to them from the appeal court. What do you think, Chris?
Yes, all eyes on the Supreme Court. Remember that tag, all eyes on Supreme Court. So all eyes on Supreme Court now. Especially when it comes to that of Plateau. Plateau State is a very, very peculiar case that every Nigerian seems to be interested in. And let's see what comes up. It's not only Plateau. Kano State will also be in the mix from what we are reading this week, and one or the other states. But the Supreme Court, at least for the governorship election, that people to do some level of justice to a larger state. We saw the speed with which the Supreme Court handled the case of the Enugu State Governor, Mr. Peter Mbah. And for me, that was a very commendable one. And within how many months that issue was disposed of. And the young man is now sitting well on the seat in Enugu State and discharging his duties without any distraction. I believe that should be the same with other governors, so that we can get this job done with, and so that those that have to live out live, and those that need to work continue their work, which continue their work. But Plateau, as I said, is a very litmus test, because there have been so many controversial verdicts, both by the tribunal and also the Court of Appeal on issue relating to Plateau State. We know that the issue of the legislative arm has been dealt with in Plateau State, and PDP, the party in power, lost so many seats in those judgments, and a lot of people raised some dust. But the Plateau State governor had been raising the issue that most of the issues being addressed are supposed to be pre-election, and there's a Supreme Court had given verdict on issue relating to pre-election matters. And but let's wait. We cannot jump the gun. Let's see whatever the Supreme Court says on this matter will be the final. And as we said in law, once the judgment is given by the Supreme Court, that is what it is. If you have any other thing against it, just only have to appeal to God. So that is what is going to bet. My eyes will be on Kanu. Kanu, the case in Kanu is a very volatile case. And security agencies, I hope they are putting their hands together and making sure that, irrespective of where the verdict go, that there will be no breakdown of law and order in Kanu State, because the gladiators are digging in. They are digging in. There have been protests in Kanu all this while, and a lot of people are waiting to see what is going to happen. Yes, we know that the NNPP have lost both at the tribunal and the Court of Appeal. So this is the final judgment. But I hope that the security agencies are also. Then also Lagos. I think Lagos is also coming to the list. Our own Lagos. We heard that the judgment on the case involving Governor Sanwo-Olu is going to. But let me put in this, because also in Lagos, I'm talking of Lagos. For those of you that's in Abuja, there's a lot of controversy going on in Lagos now because of the incident involving the governor of Lagos State and the soldier that was arrested. I'm sure you saw that video and see what's happening.
Yes, we did.
We've seen a lot of reaction from junior officers in the army. And I wonder why I don't know whether they have, if they've not issued that. I wonder why the army have not issued any statement on that. Because the way they are vilifying the governor as if he did anything. The governor did. Nobody is above the law. That's one that was going now because they are trying to pitch the civilians against.
I think we lost Chris there. I can't hear him anymore. Can you hear him?
Yeah,
no.
But we'll also be, wrapping the discussion with him up there, because we also need to engage our, interview section for that platform. Chris, thank you for that, your contribution there. So, Lemmy, you want to talk about this as well?
Yes. Let me say that the judiciary in Nigeria currently, it's operating like the English Premiership League's VAR, Video Assistant Referee. And you know that when Video Assistant Referee was introduced into football, the football world, the idea was to eliminate to the barest minimum any wrong decision being taken. In law, there is what is called judicial precedence. That means, for instance, if a case is determined at the apex court, that judgment becomes a guide to others. On pre-election matters, the Supreme Court had taken a position outrightly on it, including the Plateau case, that you cannot bring pre-election matters into election tribunals. Now, the Supreme Court, in a plethora of cases, had determined that. Then all of a sudden, you have, so let's first justify why we say VAR. In those days, let's use the Akpabio emergence as a senator in this dispensation and the emergence of Ahmed Lawan in this dispensation. Ordinarily, the position of the law would have been that since they were not part of those, they are taking presidential nomination forms, they cannot automatically become lawmakers again, having gone for the presidential election. But the Supreme Court, in a judgment or two judgments that will continue to haunt them because they cannot explain it, they departed, like the EPL VAR, from the position. Now, on the Plateau case, the decision had been taken in a plethora of cases by the Supreme Court that you cannot bring pre-election matter. Issue of Mutwang not being nominated, duly, properly nominated, is a pre-election matter ordinarily. And the tribunal, the appeal court rather, sitting on appeal, decided to upturn the decision or the victory of Mutwang on the basis that he was not duly nominated, which is clearly a pre-election matter, going by decisions that have been taken by the Supreme Court in the past. So I want to hope that this VAR that they are using, Supreme Court acting as VAR, will clean the lenses of the television that they are watching in order to know whether this is a pre-election matter or not. However, lower courts, courts below, must be guided, because to review any decision of the apex court, like making a pre-election matter an election matter, amounts to judicial recklessness, rascality, and insubordination. And in the days of Justice Nikki Toby, Justice George Oguntade, they frowned seriously about a matter like this. Now it's like pitching, this is like the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal in a tussle. Whereas Section 287 of the Constitution says the Supreme Court's decision shall bind every other court.
This is Shockitable Media, and I approve this message.